How to use themes in Flutter. So themes is a functionality of Flutter to maintain the colors in your app. Probably when you start building apps with Flutter, you hardcode every color. For example, with colors.white, colors.black, colors.green, and so on. But this has two disadvantages. One is, if you want to change your app colors, you have to change it everywhere in your code. And the other problem is that when you have, for example, a text with a certain color on a container with a certain color, and you change the container color, for example, from black to a light gray, and your text is still white, then this text might not be readable, and there's no tool that hints you that this text is not looking good anymore. So therefore, Flutter uses the themes, and I will show you with this example page how to set up your themes and how to access the colors in your themes. Also, if you want to use a light and a dark mode in your app, how to easily implement this. First of all, we set up our themes in our main.dart file at the root of our material app. Here we have the option to set a theme and a dark theme. If we don't want to have a dark mode in our app, then we can just do the theme and don't do the dark theme. What do we need to set up in our theme? In our theme, we set up a color scheme. We can use the color scheme from scratch to only give a primary and an accent color and a brightness mode to generate the whole color scheme. You can also define more colors here or more parameters here, like a card color, a background color, an arrow color. But if you don't do this, the color scheme will be generated by the algorithm that is behind this function. Also, we can define a text theme and the brightness. With the brightness, we just say if it's a light mode or a dark mode. For the text theme, I create an own variable, which is a text theme. And here I set up all the text styles for my body small, body medium, and so on and so on. I define the font size and the color. And then I can just reference this heading like body small, body medium, and so on in my app code. So I don't mix around with a lot of different font styles by defining it everywhere individually. I made the same for the dark mode. For the dark mode, I use a white text, while for the light mode, I had a black text. So in my case, this is the only difference. Beside that, in my style repository, which is just a class where I collected all my style information, like colors and text styles. Here, I also defined the primary color for light mode, for dark mode, and my accent color. After I defined the themes here, I can set an initial theme mode, which is also defined here. So I start with the light mode per default, but I also build a function to change the app from light mode to dark mode. The next step is to use the colors in our app. Therefore, I build this example on the right. It just contains containers with another container on it. And this container always contains a color with high contrast compared to the background container. This is the container element I created here, and I always give it two colors. The main color you can see in the background, and the second color you can see in the foreground in the smaller container. And here we see how to use the theme in our code. We always reference to the theme of context, use the parameter color scheme, and then we can pick our colors. These colors are created by the primary color and the accent color. Here we see the green, which I defined as primary color, and the blue, which I defined as accent color. Even though it's accessible via the name secondary, this is the same as our accent color. And here we see even more colors. Here, for example, the red arrow color, the light green background color. These colors are generated by Flutter based on our primary and secondary color. Worth mentioning here is that we always have one color and an on this color, like here our primary color and an on primary color. The onPrimary color is a color Flutter generated that has a high contrast on the primary color. That means when I have a text that I display on a container which has the primary color, I can use onPrimary, so the contrast will always be high, so this text will always be readable. Or if I put a container on another container, it doesn't matter, as long as I want to have two different colors and they need to be differentiable from each other, then I use this one color and on this color. So when I change my primary color, everything else will still be readable or differentiable. If you want to know more about colors and themes, just let me know in the comments. I'm happy to make more tutorials. And if you want to get the coding of this app, here we have much more than just the theme example. We have many implemented widgets. You can go to getappronto.com and there you get a complete code.